delighted to be in Oman by video in the Seoul Forum. I'm very happy that I could do that by your courtesy. I'm sorry that I couldn't be present personally. I wish I could, because that's what I was planning, but the last moment changes made it impossible for me to come. So I'm appearing before you. I'm very happy to be with you. And I'm very happy that one of my friends, Laurent, is here. My relationship with him goes back when he was still a student. He wrote to me from Chile. He was a volunteer working in Chile in the slums of Santiago. And he was very taken by the idea of Grameen Bank, and he came over to visit Bangladesh to understand. And then he started the program in Santiago, Chile. The organizations he created called Contigo. So I'm very happy that he's here. The Grameen idea came actually not because I was thinking of creating something like a bank for the poor people. I never had any idea that I should be thinking of creating a bank for the poor people. It was the circumstances in which I was put in Bangladesh. I came back to Bangladesh in 1972, right after Bangladesh became an independent country. And it was a devastated country at that time. Lots of people were killed, infrastructure all destroyed through the liberation war and so on. So I came back from the United States where I was teaching to come back to see if I can participate in the rehabilitation and rebuilding of the nation. And I joined Chittagong University, where I started teaching economics. As the economy was going on, sliding down very sharply. By 1974, we had a terrible famine. So I'm in a situation of a famine where I teach elegant theories of economics, and outside the classroom you see people dying of hunger. It's a kind of a situation where it's very difficult to adjust yourself to the unreality of the circumstances. So after I seeing that what I teach really doesn't mean anything to people who are dying, so I thought maybe as a human being I should go out and stand next to another human being, see if I could be of some use to somebody. So this is what I was trying to do. And I did a lot of little things in the village just next door to the university campus. And I saw how people were taking loans from the loan sharks and getting into the terrible, ruthless exploitation by the loan sharks. So I wanted to know more about it, since this is something new phenomenon for me. I heard about it, but never came so close to such a situation. So I went around with a student to make a list of people who were borrowing from loan sharks. When my list was complete, we had 42 names on the list, and the total loan they took was $27. I was shocked by the smallness of the number, and I said, my God, for such a small amount of money, people have to suffer so much. And then I realized that the problem is very difficult, very intricate, but the solution at this point was so simple for me. All I have to do is to give this $27 to these 42 people so that they can return the money to the loan sharks and be free. And that immediately attracted me, and I went ahead doing that. I just gave this $27 and tell them that return the money to the loan sharks. And that created a lot of a sensation among them, that it's so easy for me to do that. They couldn't believe that anybody would be interested in doing such a thing. And they looked at me as if I have done some kind of a miracle. So looking at that, another question came to my mind: if you can make so many people so happy with such a small amount of money, why shouldn't you do more of it? So I wanted to do more of it. And the idea came later on in my mind, why don't I connect the bank, which is located in the campus, with the people who live next door to the campus? And that will be the solution ultimately. And that I thought it's an exciting idea. So I went to the bank and suggested to him, that manager, that he should lend money to the poor people. He said, no way, bank cannot lend money to the poor people. So we got into a lot of debates, and it went on and on for several days, several weeks. Then he said, why don't you go to the senior people. I cannot do such a thing. It's impossible for me. No use arguing with me. So I started talking to the senior officials in the banking hierarchy. Everybody told me the same thing. After several months of running around, finding no other way, I offered myself as a guarantor. I said, I'll become the guarantor. I'll sign all your papers, and you give the money. And that's how it all began. I said, whenever I needed some rules in my work, lending money to the poor people, I just look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I learned how they do it, their procedures, and I just do the opposite. And it became Grameen Bank. So literally you can see lots of things are just opposite the way conventional banks do. Like conventional banks, they adopt the basic principle as the more you have, the more you can get. So they're always looking for people who have lots and lots of money, lots and lots of wealth, so that they can give you a lot more. They can move on, making more money. We reversed that principle. We said, less you have, more attractive you are. If you have nothing, you have the highest priority. We will go to you first. So that's the kind of reversal of the conventional principle of the banking. And then we dismissed the whole idea of collateral. Conventional banks always do the business looking at the size of the collateral. They will decide how much money they are going to give you. We said, since we are based on the principle where you have nothing, you get the highest priority, how can you do business with somebody who has nothing if you're asking for a collateral? He has, by definition, he doesn't or she doesn't have anything. So we dismissed that. We said we don't need collateral. If you take collateral, we go back to the same old logic of the conventional banks. So we dismissed. And then we dismissed the lawyers. We don't have any lawyers in our bank. Unlike, again, conventional banks, where everything they do is all seconded and tightly packed by the lawyers, make sure, absolutely sure that it cannot fail, money cannot go away from the bank side. So we said it's useless now that we don't have collateral. We don't need lawyers either. So we don't have lawyers, we don't have collateral, we don't have guarantees. So this is another reversal. Then conventional bank focus on men. We focused on women. They look for the rich men, we look for the poor women. And conventional banks are owned by rich people, particularly rich men. And we reverse that too. Our bank, Grameen Bank, is owned by poor women. They are the owners of this bank. So you go piece by piece, you'll see so many of the principles that we have adopted, procedures we have adopted, as almost 180 degrees other way around, reversal of the system. Amazing thing that it works. And it works everywhere, same way. People pay back. Wherever microcredit Grameen Bank idea has been adopted, repayment rate is very high, 98, 99%. Why do they pay back? They pay back because it makes sense to them. Because for the first time they're getting an opportunity which they never had. In the beginning, I was making complaints about the conventional banks, saying that the banks not only wrong by not lending money to the poor people, they're also wrong by rejecting the women of all classes. Even the rich woman can't get a loan from a conventional banks. They protested that this is not true. I showed them their statistics. I said, look, all the borrowers that you lend money to, not even 1% of those borrowers happen to be women. And so you must be something wrong in your system, which discards women. So when I began, I wanted to make sure half the borrowers in my program are women. So this is what I was focusing on, the women. When I went to the women said, no, not me, don't give it to me. I don't know what to do with money. You give it to my husband. So we said, no, this is not what we want. We want to give it to you. I said, no, I never touch money. I don't know what to do with money. Why should I take money? I'm scared of money. So in the beginning, it's very disappointing. Some of my students said, please forget about this 50-50. It's not going to work because they don't know what to do with the money. How can you force them? I said, no, I'm not forcing them. When they say no, it's not their voice. It is the voice of the history, which created fear among them. And it's a history of rejection. So they are grown up like that, that they are nobody, they cannot do anything, because the complex that it gave them is something will not disappear right away. So we have to work on them, create confidence, create courage that maybe I should try. We're waiting for that. So we waited and encouraged and encouraged. And finally we arrived at that level, 50-50. We were very happy. Then we saw money going to the family through women brought so much more benefit to the family. So we started focusing on women. So we started gradually moving from 50% to 60, 70, and soon 90, 95%. Today in Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, we have 7.5 million borrowers. 97% of them are women. And it's an amazing thing that they do. The impact in the family is so significant when mothers become the income earners in the family.